Why they fear your independence, the jealousy of choice and exclusivity. Have you ever noticed that women without friends or women with very few friends are often envied, mocked, feared? They're often the target of jealousy. When you are the type of woman who has no friends and you're okay with it, or you have very few friends, you will often find yourselves being envied by people who fear your independence. Number one, why would somebody fear someone else's independence? When people want to have control over you, when people want to have control over your mind, over your will, over your emotions, you being an independent woman who doesn't need any friends or has very few friends and you're okay with that, that can make people very apprehensive. That can make people very antsy. That can make people fear you and always be suspicious of you if you're the kind of woman who has no friends and you're okay with it. See, women who are exclusive and have no friends often find themselves the target of other people's jealousy and envy because they don't understand them. But let's go back to this fear of your independence. A lot of people today depend on other people so much. Not that there is anything wrong with that, but codependency, that is an issue. And when you are an independent woman, as they say, but a woman who has very few friends or has no friends and you're okay with it, some people will look at your independence, your independent nature, as somehow looking like you are better off than they are. And honestly, a woman who's able to stand on her own, not that you're trying to do it, but a woman that's able to be by herself, do things for herself, make herself happy, you will often be a threat and envied by people who don't have that same experience. Now let's discuss the exclusivity part. What makes a woman exclusive? Well, there are 4 specific points, 4 specific ways and traits of a woman who has no friends and she's okay with it, and yet her independence triggers the envy and jealousy of other people. So what makes a woman exclusive? I took down some notes so that way I can stay on target. Allow me to sip my water. So why do they fear your independence, the jealousy of choice and exclusivity? Number 1, a woman is exclusive when she has strong boundaries and values. Oftentimes, women with strong boundaries and values will have very hard time making friends or keeping friends because you're not willing to budge. You're not willing to be easily persuaded into doing things that you don't want to do. You stand firm on your boundaries. And a woman who has strong boundaries and values, that makes her exclusive. Unfortunately, we live in a society today where a lot of women do not have exclusivity. They allow anything into their mind. They allow anything into their body. They do not have a specific preference as to anything. But women who are exclusive, and typically these are your women who have very few friends or they have no friends and they're okay with it, they often have very strong boundaries that nobody can break. And that will often make you a target of other people's jealousy and envy. They suddenly get that "who do you think you are" mindset. When people are not able to control what you do, how you do it, how you feel, those type of people become very triggered by the fact that you don't need them. Now, I'm not saying, and this goes back to the independent woman part of this. When I say independent woman, I'm not talking in regards to relationships. I'm not talking about women being so hyper independent where they feel like they don't need help from another person from time to time, or they're in a relationship and they don't let their man lead or help them. I'm not talking about that. When I say independent woman, as an exclusive woman, I mean the kind of woman who is not easily persuaded by cultural norms, or she's not easily persuaded to fit into society's expectation of her. That type of independence. I mean independent in your thinking. Women who are free thinkers, they don't have group think. These are typically your women who are women who don't have friends and they're okay with it, or they're women who typically have very few friends or a select type of friends. Women who are free thinkers, who do not partake in groupthink, they are typically the women who have very strong boundaries. And because you have strong boundaries and your boundaries cannot be crossed, that will make you the target of some people's envy, jealousy, and all-out hatred of you. Let's say you have a boundary in your faith and how you believe, and you refuse to do certain things because it goes against your belief. It goes against your morals. It goes against your values. Well, because you're not willing to budge on that, and I'm using that as an example, because a lot of times that is the reason why many women fall out, the reason why they can't maintain friendships with one another. It's because of certain beliefs, certain behaviors that interact with your belief, and you just can't go along with it. If you are a kind of woman who has that boundary, those values, and I have to say exactly how it is today, the way I perceive it, a lot of women today don't have any standards or boundaries. They allow anybody and anything into their mental and into their physical body. And a woman with standards, which is normally the woman who's the lone wolf, normally the woman who stands alone, who does not have friends or has very few friends, and she's okay with it, that's typically the woman who would rather stand on her boundaries, stand on her values, opposed to allowing any devil in, the way I see it. So the number one thing that makes a woman exclusive, which are typically your women who don't have any friends and they're okay with it, or they have very few friends, they stand strong on their boundaries and their values. And it's not just when it comes to spiritual beliefs, when it comes to how you take care of your bodies and the things that you allow into your home. If you have a boundary that says there's no smoking in my home, then that might make you the kind of woman that people stay away from, because a lot of people like to do that kind of thing today. And that might be something very minor, but to a woman who's exclusive, that's something she can't bend on. She doesn't want to be around people who smoke. And let's make it more intellectual. Let's say you're the kind of woman who does not like violence. You don't like fighting. You don't like fussing. You don't like a lot of conflict. You would typically have a boundary that says, I'm not going to deal with people who are argumentative. I'm not going to deal with pessimistic people, people who are down and depressed all the time. Not clinically, but people who are just normally pessimistic. You like to surround yourself with a lot of positive energy, positive people. That's a boundary of yours. So you are exclusive because some people will look at you and say, oh, you think you're better than us, all because you will not allow them to impart their negativity onto you. You're exclusive. And not all women like that are that way today. There are some women who are so desperate for friendships that they would rather sit around with a bunch of miserable people imparting negativity into them than to sit alone and be peaceful and happy. So the number one thing that makes a woman exclusive, especially those women who are independent thinkers, and normally don't have a lot of friends, are the women who have strong boundaries and values, number one. The number two thing that makes a woman exclusive is that she does not engage in casual situation. She gives time and attention to her energy and to her time. She values it. She does not waste it. If you are the kind of woman who has no friends and you're okay with it, if you're the kind of woman that other women fear your independence, they fear your free thought and the way that you think, if they have jealousy because you choose to be alone, it's typically because you gatekeep your time, you gatekeep your energy, and you are very intentional about how you live and the people you surround yourself with. Women who have no friends and they're okay with it, they are exclusive because they gatekeep their time. They gatekeep their energy. And this ties into number one when it comes to boundaries and standards. If you're the kind of woman who values her peace so much so that you deliberately curate a circle of people, you deliberately try to curate your life in a way that makes for peace, that makes for positivity, of course, you can't avoid all stresses. You can't avoid all negative things. That's just the world we live in. But women who typically have no friends and are okay with it, or have decided that they just want a small circle of friends, These are typically your women who gatekeep their time. These are typically your women who don't engage in just casual situations. When it comes to casual situations, what do I mean? This is probably going to rub some people the wrong way. And let me sip my water. But when you are the woman who has no friends and you're okay with it, when you are preoccupied with your own standards, your own boundaries, your own peace of mind, you don't partake in casual situations where you just allow any person into your life, especially in relationships. Women who have no friends and choose to be alone oftentimes, they are hyper selective as to what kind of man they're going to allow into their life. And this is not just for men and relationships, this is friendships also. Women who are more intellectual, women who are more, how can I say it? They are more independent thinkers, and they have people who are envious of them, jealous of them because of their independence and not needy for them. You may find yourself in a situation where men don't easily gravitate to you. Like, they might see you and think you're pretty, think you're beautiful, think you're cute, but the more certain men talk to you, they may not want to deal with you. Not because there's anything wrong with you, but because your way of thinking, your free thought, your independent way of thinking can rub men who desire to control you the wrong way. You see, a woman who has no friends and is okay with it, she's normally a deep thinker. She spends a lot of time working on her personal development, as I said in the first video. And when you are a woman who constantly works on herself, that means you cannot easily be played. And a lot of the men, not just men, but I'm talking about relationships right now. A lot of the men today, they desire to get with women who are gullible, naive, and can be bought for a handbag. And if you are the type of woman who can typically do those things for herself, but you crave something deeper, you might find yourself not being pursued by certain types of men because you are independent in your thinking. When it comes to women who have no friends, sometimes it's because they know that people who are always, have a whole group of people around them and they don't really stand firm on anything or believe anything in particular. They don't have a preference as to how they live their life and what they will and won't accept. These are typically your people who have a lot of attention from other people. People want to be around them and people will just be around simply because they have no standard. But when you want a specific type of people around you, you're exclusive, you can't easily be sweet talked. You can't easily be loved bombed. That's another trait of women who have no friends and are okay with it. Women who are selective, who are exclusive, they can't be easily sweet talked into any kind of foolishness. A man can't tell them sweet nothings and then his actions not follow up. You actually pay attention to those things. And because of that, some people, including men, may be jealous of you because you're not willing to accept any crumbs they want to hand you. That's a part of having standards. Whether you're a woman without friends or you have a lot of friends, that's still a standard you should have. Actions and words should match. And because women who have no friends tend to be deeper thinkers, they tend to be, more free thinkers, more independent thinkers, people can't easily play them. And that will make you a problem for people who want to play in your face and control you. So the number 2 sign that makes a woman an exclusive woman is that she does not engage in casual situations. She gatekeeps her time and her energy. And if she feels like somebody is trying to play her, trying to love bomb her, and they're not sincere in how they treat her, she removes herself because she's okay being alone. She has actually trained herself to not need a lot of people. And once again, that's not to say that you're not going to need people from time to time. That's not going to say if you're a single woman and you desire to be in a relationship that you still won't want that. But you won't want it so much so that you let down your standards, you let down your good old common sense and your intellect in order to get it. So number 2. Number 3 sign, number 3 way that a woman is exclusive is that she's not always available. This is very important for women to understand, especially the women who get jealous of and or hate on women who have no friends. You have to understand that a woman always being easily available, that does not make you unique. That does not make you someone who is chaste, if that's what you desire to have. That is not someone that doesn't make you a woman who's going to be pursued, because you're always available. You're always available for anything and everything that people want to do. And when you are an exclusive woman, when you are typically the kind of woman who has no friends and you're okay with it, or you have a small circle of friends, you are not always so easily available. There's something about being exclusive with your time, with your attention, that makes people want to be around you more. If you are the kind of woman that's always there, and I'm telling you this from personal experience, I have experienced this earlier in my life, in my 20s, my late teens and my 20s. When you are always easily available, and this is actually the number one point for a woman to be more exclusive and protect yourself in the process, always being available for other people, that makes you an easy target to be taken advantage of and to be taken for granted. When you are the kind of woman who's always available at the drop of a hat and you have no friends, but you're always available for people to use you, that's exactly what they will do. Women who have no friends, and this is where the jealousy of choice and exclusivity comes in. People get jealous of women who have no friends and are okay with it, and they're jealous of your independence and the choices that you make for your life, simply because you understand that always being open and available to people does nothing but get you taken advantage of and mistreated, oftentimes by the wrong people. There's nothing wrong with being available to help, to be a listening ear, to be an encourager, to get encouragement. But there's something about being the kind of woman that's always available at the drop of a hat that makes people look at you. I have to say how it's coming to me. They look at you like you're an easy target, like you're a clown. I gave so many scenarios in previous videos of women who were sweethearted, feminine, kind women, always willing to help, and they're no longer with us because they allowed the wrong people to receive from them. They gave help and attention and time to the wrong people. Women who have no friends and are okay with it, or have a small circle of friends, they're not always available. You're not going to be able to call her and she answers the phone every single time. You might not see her every single day. You might not see her every single week. It's because she's busy focusing on her own life. And some women, and this is another thing you have to understand, it's okay to be selfish sometimes. Not selfish in a self-absorbed, narcissistic kind of way, thinking you're better and the world revolves around you. But putting yourself first, as in your well-being, your mental health, your physical health, your spiritual well-being, that is okay. And so many women suffer because they feel like in order to be seen as worthy, they have to give all of themselves to other people. And no matter how much people try to manipulate you, be it mentally or spiritually, God does not require us to give all of ourselves to other people. Because can I tell you a secret? Most people, and it's just human nature, they don't really appreciate when somebody gives all of themselves, all of their attention to one person, unless it's a child. You have to have your own life and focus on your own well-being, because people, what they will say, and I've heard this in my own life, you're always available, you're always there. And then if you bring up the fact that you feel unappreciated, they'll say that dreaded phrase, nobody asked you to do all that. Nobody told you to do that. As a woman, that's like a slap across the, life, to hear that somebody says to you, nobody asked you to do that. Nobody told you to do that. That's why women need to learn how to be more selfish and be more exclusive with themselves. Focus on yourself. And when a woman does not have too many friends, or she has no friends and she's okay with it, you might not be able to get in contact with her all of the time, because she realizes that other people put themselves first. So she's going to do the same. Unless it's your, excuse me, unless it's your child or God, nobody else should come before you. That's just the way it is. I know that might rub some people the wrong way, but that's the way it is. Women do better in life when they put God first, the way I see it, and focus on themselves. And I don't care if you're married, I don't care. Put yourself first. That's important for you to understand. But women who think that way will often be a target of other people's envy and jealousy because you are choosing to put yourself first. You are being more exclusive rather than inclusive. Being an inclusive woman says, you know what, I don't value my time, I don't value my energy. Whatever you want me to do, I will do. If you want me to do nothing, when I know I should be working on something that's going to make me better, I'll do that. I'll let your negativity bring me down so much so that I just stop in my tracks and stop pursuing my goals. And people who want to manipulate you oftentimes, and people who are jealous of how you move and how you operate, typically that's what they want you to do. Now, there's another thing that people, and these are the assumptions that people make about women who have no friends and are okay with it. They always assume often, number one, that you're sneaky and they have to be suspicious of you. Today, people are not used to women just being quiet and minding their business. They always assume that she has some kind of ulterior motive as to why she's not speaking, as to why she's not interacting. There's something wrong with her. She's awkward. But women, as I've said in previous videos, women who have no friends and are okay with it, or women who are the quiet ones, the quiet friend or the quiet family member, they are typically the women who have such a heightened discernment and wisdom where they can read a room, they can read people, they can read the energy, they can foresee how situations are going to play out. And because of that, they guard themselves. I can't say this enough. Silence is often your best weapon and is the most powerful tool that you can use as a woman. The way I believe, there's a scripture that says, in a multitude of words, sin is not lacking, which means the more you talk, the more opportunity for you to get caught up in something. And for me, unless I'm talking to somebody that is also giving out the same vibe that I'm giving, me just airing out all of my business, that is useless, that is pointless. See, women who don't have any friends and are okay with it, or have a small circle of friends, it's not that they're shy, it's not that they're introverted even sometimes. It's that women like that, because they can feel the jealousy and envy and weirdo energy often coming from people who don't understand them and who want to misunderstand them, they get guarded, they get quiet, and they stay to themselves. And the older you get, the more you will understand as a woman, it's okay to be exclusive and it's okay to be selective with who you want to be around you. There's another verse that comes to me that says, bad company corrupts good morals. And as a woman, that means you're selective on the kind of people you're around. This is not a preachy message. This is not just for Christians. This is all things woman. But your spirituality as a woman will have a lot to do with how you handle the hate and envy and jealousy coming from people who are bent on misunderstanding you because you're not needy for them, because you're not going to let them control or manipulate you. So as women, and the whole topic of this video was about why they fear your independence and the jealousy of choice and exclusivity. And I also explain, what does it mean to be an exclusive woman? A woman who is exclusive, number one, has boundaries and standards. She does not engage in casual activities. She gives thought about her time, her energy, and she's intentional about those things. And then number three, she's not always available. People can't just have easy access to her. A woman who's exclusive, she only gives her time and attention to things that value her and that bring blessings and opportunities to herself and her family. She's not going to entertain the neighborhood gossip. She's not going to entertain the toxic family member that just wants to spread rumors and start problems. She's not going to be in a circle of women who she knows likes to fight and put herself in harm's way. Women who are exclusive and typically have no friends and are okay with it, they don't do things like that. And because they don't, you may find yourself being the target of somebody's jealousy, envy, and they fear your independence. And because of it, they're jealous. And that's okay. As women with standards, you never worry about what other people think of you protecting yourself from their toxicity. And this is where that queen energy, that kind of, healthy savage mentality comes in, where it's like, my feelings, my thoughts are just as valuable as yours. And if your feelings are hurt, that's okay. I'm protecting myself. Women with no friends typically understand that thing. But even if women who have a lot of friends, if your circle is big and full and you have a lot of women, you still have to make sure, if you don't do anything else, don't always be so easily available. Because you may be going through these things now, and this is one of the benefits of being a woman who doesn't have that many friends or doesn't have any friends and she's okay with it. She doesn't have to deal with the toxic female friendship dynamic that says, if I take a moment to myself, now I'm acting funny. If I'm not constantly around you, oh, I don't like you like that. I never liked you. All of those kind of things that happen with toxic female friendships. Now, in healthy feminine female friendships, you won't have to worry about those things because you all typically have the same kind of vibe. You think the same way. You value, and get this, respect each other's time and differences. When women respect each other, there's no room for envy or jealousy or toxicity. There's no room for all this hyper judgment. And if it's something you can't tolerate, you just remove yourself. But in toxic friendship circles of women who are always going back and forth with one another, that's one of the benefits of being a woman who has no friends and is okay with it. You don't have to worry about all the toxic female drama. And for many women, they have decided they're okay with that. That was just a little bit of a sidebar. But if you watch this video, like and subscribe to this channel, share this content. And if you watch this video until the very end, put the high heel emoji in the comment section. I absolutely love to see it. Take care.